All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Mets Weekly Podcast YouTube channel. Man, it is late at night. Let's just say that. We are live at this very moment on YouTube and on X to discuss the latest news and rumors of all off-season long going on in Mets land at this current moment. But before we do that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel for weekly episodes of our show that are now recorded live every Monday night, typically at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, there is a little bit of a change in the programming. We will not be going live tomorrow. That has already been established before we even went live today. But you will have one or two videos sprinkled in throughout the week, and we also will be going live for breaking news such as this. For those of you listening on playback in the future, you want to join the conversation, turn on those post notifications to know when we go live, as well as multiple videos that go out throughout the week, all off season long. Those of you in the live chat right now, we love reading your comments, your questions, your concerns, all of that. We'll make sure to pull up as many as we can to keep the flow of the conversation going. Follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok for future content over there. For our audio listeners, make sure to follow us on all your favorite listening platforms to not miss the audio version of new podcast episodes and videos as well that go up at 9 a.m. the following day. That podcast episodes are recorded. So without further ado, let's get into the latest news. And we are up now very close to midnight on the eastern side of things. Andrew, you're holding it down there in Central Time there, so you're an hour behind me. But it is pretty late at night, but the Mets decided, hey, let's just go in a very convenient time for everybody, and let's make a signing. And that signing being right-handed pitcher Frankie Montas to a 2-year, $34 million contract, which includes a player option for 2026. 32-year-old right-handed pitcher coming off of a serviceable year split across Cincinnati and Milwaukee. Not great. But the Mets make their first add to the rotation with, of course, 3 noticeable pitchers going to free agency, that being Luis Severino, Sean Manaea, and Jose Quintana. The first one to be slot into this rotation for 2025 being Frankie Montas. Now, we have talked about Frankie Montas before. Years ago, we've talked about possibly trading for him. We've talked about him as a possible signing. We all know that we have the infamous, you and me know this, but I don't think that anybody really has followed along. I don't know if you guys have been around for this long, but we just call him Frankie Montas for no reason. I think you said it like that in a video once, and we just rolled with it. So what do you think about Frankie Montas coming over to the New York Mets very late at night as well? Oh, by the way, I'm joined by my co-host Andrew as well, as Frank could not make it. Very old, in his bed right now, resting up for the next day. But Andrew, you are here. So what do you think about this one? Frankie Montas to the Mets, adding them to the Mets rotation for 2025.
Yeah, it's an ad. I mean, hopefully a back-end starter would be great. I know everyone's already complaining about the price. Welcome to the 2024 starting pitching market. He got the same amount as Michael Wacha, $17 million a year. Kikuchi got, 20, and then obviously Snell is different with $36 million. So again, this is the price of a back-end starter. Thanks, Taijuan Walker, you really fucked up the market, and just the overpriced and overrating, not overrating, but the overpricing for pitching. It is what it is. I mean, if he's the Quintana replacement, sure. Again, if he's your 4 and 5 or 4 or 5 starter, it's an idea. I mean, yeah, last year he got you 150 innings notoriously. Last couple of years before that was dealing with a lot of injuries, so you have that bugaboo, but you don't love that. I guess this is something. He went to Milwaukee after leaving Great American's Ballpark. You would have thought his numbers would have been a lot better going to that. Obviously a pitching factory, David Stearns' old team in Milwaukee, and he was better, but it wasn't like a night and day difference. You would have liked to have seen a bigger jump. It's a 5-pitch mix, which is cool. Again, he is an option. Like if he's your 5 starter, or depending on David Peterson, your 5 or your 4, and he could give me 150 innings at a 4.5 ERA, I'll take it. Especially at again that's what the rate of a back end starter goes for. It's not sexy, it's not glorious, but it seems to be what the Mets want to do with starting pitching and not go out at the top of the market and give up term. They want to stay shorter term, and the AAV really doesn't matter to these kind of back end 15 to $17 million deals. Again, we'll see if they go in the trade market or not. But for first move for the rotation, it's an arm. Now you have 3 quality pitchers. Nothing, you've got David Peterson saying again him now. Again, this isn't a dynamite rotation. But again, we're sitting here on December 1st. We haven't even gotten to the winter meetings yet. I'm not losing my shit yet. But again, it's the first out of at least 3, maybe 4 if they want to do a 6-man rotation, and maybe they add like a Lorenzen type as well. We'll see if they do that, or they maybe want to give the job to Sprout if he has a good spring. That's to be determined. But again, it's kind of like how Severino was the first move. I'm like, really, this is the first move? But whatever. That worked out. This, hopefully, again, if he's giving me 150 innings at a 4.5 ERA as my 5,
I mean, I don't know if he cut off there, guys. Let me know if you guys can hear him or whatever. I think maybe he just stopped talking there. I mean, when I look at this one, I think that, it seems like a decent arm that can round out this rotation. Again, like you said, if you are replacing Jose Quintana with somebody like Frankie Montas, it's definitely a little bit more of an intriguing arm as compared to somebody like Jose Quintana, who definitely down the stretch of the season was very big for us. We were ready to toss this dude out on the street with nothing but, a goodie bag of cookies. But when it comes to, a piece like Frankie Montas, one thing I will say, when he went over to Milwaukee, as compared to what he did with Cincinnati, he definitely was throwing a lot more strikes, which definitely gave into a little bit more of the career-wide bugaboo of him giving up home runs. But we also saw a lot more strikeouts, a lot more swing and miss when he was there, in that realm of pitching with Milwaukee. One thing that I will say is this is back-end type of stuff, which we know can go all haywire. One thing I will say about Frankie Montas, he is one guy that can lose his head a little bit, and they're going to have to kind of dial him in that regard. So we will see what happens. I think that, again, this is an upgrade from Jose Quintana of what you're looking at going forward. Even though Jose Quintana did have a quality year last year, there really is not much that is going to sustain with Jose Quintana. We've seen a lot of the wheels fall off with him. I understand, he got the command going towards the long half of the season. But when it comes to Frankie Montas, a little bit more strikeout heavy, not needing of that much contact. I think it's an upgrade from Quintana. It's a downgrade from somebody like Severino, and it's also a downgrade from somebody like Sean Manaea. So basically what I'm saying here is this is a 4 or a 5 starter, and if he does give you quality, at best he will be not even a good number 3, probably a number 4 at best when you look at it. But I think, it was very weird. It was very weird to see the Mets kind of go in this type of direction in regards to the pitching staff, because I feel like we all really expected Corbin Burns kind of setting the market. Then you also see Yusei Kikuchi get that deal from the Angels, which I actually predicted in one of my free agent predictions that I have logged in my phone. But when it comes to somebody like Frankie Montas, I didn't think that they were going to go in this type of direction, as to where they go maybe a little bit older, and maybe there's just another 1-year deal that they just add to it. I thought that maybe they would go through a little bit more of a back-end trade for somebody like Eric Fetty, maybe something like that. I was expecting something like that. Pieces that could be back-end pieces. We do have a video coming out this week about some possible frontline pieces they can add. I don't know, how this is going to go, because I feel like at one point Montas can definitely get on a roll. Let's just say that. But the problem with this is you're definitely playing into a lot of the problems that the Mets pitching staff had last year. Lots of base runners getting being given up. Lots of running full counts, not going deep into games. They were able to, in stretches, they were able to put this thing together. But Frankie Montas kind of fades into that. So if there's a way that they can kind of, collect things all together with him and kind of get him back to, let's just say, I don't know, the form of, to be honest, the form of, I don't know, 2022 maybe, where he's just like this, this 4 ERA type of guy. Because again, if this is a back end starter, this is a back end starter. Because I do believe that they're going to make other moves in the rotations that are, compared to Frankie Montas, better pitchers than them. But we will see how they do in regards to that. I think that I see a lot of people in the chat talking about the walks. Here's the thing. I think that when he went to Milwaukee, if there's a way to build up momentum from that, he was definitely throwing a lot more strikes. He was definitely a little bit more vulnerable throwing a lot more strikes, because we did see a little bit of lack of swing and miss in regards to what he was doing in Cincinnati. Obviously, it was only 11 starts that what he did in Milwaukee. He was not great in that postseason start he had against the Mets. Was it Game 2? Did he face Game 2, Game 3, something like that? And we all saw that. But let's get into some of the comments here. Armand saying that he doesn't like it. Again, I understand not liking it, considering the floor that Frankie Montas didn't go to. But we'll get into a little bit more. Carlos Ortiz is saying hello. I see some of my fellow Ranger fans in here saying I'm very brave for wearing that shirt. Listen, I was on the road this weekend, and it was the only shirt that was in my suitcase, so I had no point of doing that. I had no say in it. Let's just say that. Ricardo saying, "What's up?" Carlos Ortiz saying, "Is this the signing to replace Minaya?" I don't think so. I think Quintana is more of in that realm. When you're looking at it, it was $13 million that was given to Quintana AAV wise, $17 million, so $4 million up from what you got from Quintana. Definitely another quite a bet to be taken on by David Stearns, from somebody who, $17 million a year. Maybe there's something that they see, because there are things that I do like, which I will get into, but there are. There's definitely a low floor when it comes to a guy like Frankie Montas, as compared to guys like Sean Manaea or guys like Luis Severino at their worst, at their 50th. But similar to what the market looks like as of right now. Our fellow podcaster Subway to Shea coming through. Anthony Rivera saying Stearns and the Mets have us late talking about Frankie Montas. Yep. I mean, listen, I think. When it comes to the Mets making these types of moves, they always, they always seem to, come at these very inconvenient times. We know that the Correa signing, what was it? That happened like 3 a.m. when that happened. Yeah. The Senga signing was very early, because, I don't know if they were just going off of time in Japan when that happened, because maybe he was still in Japan at that point. There's been times where they've dropped these signings, and it just didn't make any sense. Obviously, the whole Black Friday fiasco of them signing Escobar, Canna, and Marte. It's been really crazy. Caution coming in here saying that Minaya is a bum, can't stand him. What is Stearns thinking? I think what he's thinking is he's trying to round out this rotation with stuff, and he's not trying to round out this rotation with just pieces that need to have their command just like that in order to have some impact on the game. when it comes to a piece like Jose Quintana, here's the thing. Going back in terms of Quintana, the overall results that you got were him basically getting outs, getting swings and misses, getting the ability to chase. Here's how I look at it, okay? And this is going to be a different look. You're going up against, let's say, who was the team that took you out in the postseason? The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Dodgers. Yeah.
The Dodgers are a team that do not chase. There's not much swing and miss. They definitely are good situational hitters. They showed that throughout the entire 6 games that they played against us. Teams like that are not a favorable matchup for somebody like Jose Quintana. I'm not saying that a piece like Frankie Montas is either, but I will say that Montas gives you a little bit more of a perspective of swing and miss as to where you can attack hitters a lot better, but he just needs to have it right. The thing is that you have a very, very low floor as to where he could have quite a blow up. He doesn't get through the 3rd inning or the 4th inning. And that's the main reason as to why you're putting him in the starting pitcher 4, starting pitcher 5 role. So when it comes to, taking Quintana over him, when it comes to Frankie Montas, he's a lot younger. I definitely think there's a little bit more upside in regards to this. But again, if we are talking about Frankie Montas being slated into this rotation, let's just say when this offseason is done, him replacing what Sean Manaea did, that's when we're going to have a little bit of a concern. But in place of Quintana, I think that this is an upgrade. I know that everyone saw that, Quintana ended the year on an ERA that was good, but it was definitely quite a rough scene for Quintana, an up and down season that we got from him. We did get the innings from him, and they're definitely going to have to replace the innings from what they got from pieces like Severino, who was healthy all year, very impressed with what he was able to do. Manaea definitely hit a wall towards the end there, almost, pitching almost 200 innings. And then we also got about 180 innings from Jose Quintana. So you're going to have to see that as well. But you're also factoring in a guy you didn't get any innings from last year in Kodai Senga, who you hope will be healthy for 2025. Andrew, I'll swing it back over to you.
I mean, yeah. There's obviously some ideas in my head that maybe... You good?
Yeah,
you good?
I think we're very off put in delay, but it's okay. All good.
All right, yeah. I mean, there's some internal thoughts that I can see of, okay, this is $17 million, and, the chat saying that maybe this is the Severino replacement. I hope not. Again, I think we're gonna have to add 3 starters anyway, so this is the first of 3. There is a bigger, I think this maybe points to, which I'm not going to say, we'll wait for the video to come out, but if they're paying a little more and maybe say the mid-relief, maybe they're pointing a figure at a potential bigger fish who's making less money. You could put 2 and 2 together, who I'm implying. But again, I still think this is first of 3. I don't think this is my 3 starter. I think Stearns knows that says, again, I hope that he takes the adjustment and says, hey, okay, look at the Philly rotation. Like, yes, Frankie Montas would be their 5th starter. Like, he can't be my 3. Again, look at the Braves. We'll see what happens with Fried if he's back or not, and who knows? They'll make a freaking stupid trade and add another random guy for like 2 cents on the dollar. I mean, in the Dodgers rotation. So you look at the bullpens, the rotations you got to fight in the National League. And if you're telling me Frankie Montas is your 3, again, that's a problem. But if he's my 5 or 4, depending on how David Peterson adapts, I'm fine with it. But again, you need to start, and this is, again, I'm not jumping off Dumpster Dave, but again, we're starting to see this of, hey, instead of going out and getting the sexy option, let me just fall back to my roots and go with the bargain value deal. That shit needs to stop soon. Enough of this. Well, every year I need to sign 2 to 3 starters that we can No, go get actually good pitchers that don't need to be fixed. You can just plug in and produce. again, I'm taking this under the eyes that this is a fifth starter, and we're on December 1st, and we have a whole 3 months to continue to add. And I understand that most of their attention is going into that big guy. But if we don't, then there's to be some. All right, I need some actually talented pitchers being added, not just reclamation projects.
I mean, I think that Frankie Montas has talent. I think he's a talented enough pitcher as to where you can apply things. I think that the reclamation project I feel like Severino's a little bit more of the feel of the reclamation project. Like, I feel like we know what Frankie Montas can provide to you. Probably at best, he's giving you sub 4. Probably at worst, he's giving you 5. Like, I feel like right now, listen, it's a solid signing. I don't think it's amazing.
Heyman's a dick. Oh, God.
What did
Heyman's
Heyman
a
do?
dick.
What did Heyman
He just tweets out, Mets fill 1 rotation spot, bigger moves to come. Ooh, shocker. Fuck you,
No
Heyman.
shit. I thought we were going into opening day with this squad. I mean, like, listen, here's the thing. I understand the uncertainty of what Stearns has done so far as a Mets executive, as to where sometimes these guys just don't hit. They don't do what they're supposed to. There was pieces that he did, bring in that did not work out, and they ended up, tossing him to the side. But again, I look at this from the eyes, not the eyes of Stearns, but just the eyes of building a 26-man roster and not a top heavy of, well, we have 3 good hitters and we have 2 good pitchers and we have an elite closer. That's it. And everybody else, that's just a massive crapshoot. I feel like the complementary pieces are extremely important, personally, to make an actual deep team, because you need a deep team to actually produce. And I feel like that was the main thing that we have definitely lacked before Stearns came in here, with the lack of depth. And a lot of the lack of depth has also really hurt us in that regard. I understand the need for star power. I know everybody wants the top free agents on the market, but they need to build a full team. It's not just about buying everything with a heartbeat as of right now. And I know that Steve Cohen has more money than God right now, and he will until the day he dies. But when it comes to these complementary pieces, they still need a deep team. Like, I get that, everybody wants to get the big prize right now, but there are other holes that they do need to fill on this team, and they can't just do it with the best available. Okay, so I'm not saying that they shouldn't go after the big fish. I obviously want to get Juan Soto just as much as the next guy, but when it comes to just the overall shaping of this team, the Mets, once again, we've said this before, they have 14 pending UFAs going on the market as of right now. There's a lot of roster pieces to fill, and I don't think that they're just going to go to the top of the market for every single one of them. Not to mention, I feel like the top of the market will get an answer on those at the winter meetings. Frankie Montas, I don't believe, is at the top of the market for starting pitchers. So, again, when it comes to the Mets rotation, they're going to have to round this out a little bit better. I do think that there is some more swing and miss stuff as compared to somebody like Jose Quintana with a guy like Frankie Montas. The problem that you're looking at here is, as compared to a guy like Quintana, as compared to a guy like Frankie Montas, at his worst, it can be a little bit of a nightmare. That's the only thing. And hopefully they can make some tweaks. Maybe there are just, some different things in coaching that they need to do. As for like looking at this specifically, 5-pitch arm, of course, not really much of a kitchen sink. Definitely relies on velocity a little bit more than your average swing and miss pitcher. Excuse me. Fastball sits about 95 to 96. He topped 99 last year. He definitely can throw hard. Obviously has that big sinker, tons of arm side run as well that he likes to throw to right-handed hitters. Kind of the gyro cutter, which I feel like is going to be definitely a big factor because I know that his cutter, especially against left-handed hitters, was something that got completely crushed last year. But I feel like the fastball and splitter is going to be something that goes along with it. Maybe they add in maybe they add in a little bit of they might have to add maybe a curveball or something like this, because if they're going to lack the depth a little bit, we'll see, because I feel like there is a little bit of a lack of chase when it comes to somebody like Frankie Montas, but I do like the way that he does challenge hitters and the way that he does. But, I feel like he's going to probably need to challenge hitters a little bit more to go deep into games. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like he was able to get that much of chase. Maybe there is some reinventing that they do with him. But, I mean, I think that this basically just looks like a back-end starter. And, when somebody like Nathan Eovaldi, who is out there, a lot older, or maybe the same age, a little bit older than Frankie Montas, I would definitely take him.
Yeah, he's in it.
A little bit. He will definitely be more expensive, and to be honest, I think there is a team that I'm a little bit scared to get that will get him, but it's whatever. Bueller or Flaherty, they were actually in our video of free agents to avoid in regards to that, and you can go check that out if you have not already. We'll see what happens for the rest of this rotation. Listen, I think that this is fine. Again, if this is replacing Jose Quintana, because I do believe that is an upgrade from Jose Quintana. In terms of just the overall arm talent, I guess, if I'm just saying that to be completely clear, just overall getting deeper into games, he has that stuff where he can do it. But there's some times where he just can't find the strike zone. But we also got those from Jose Quintana as well. In regards to that. So, I think that this is a solid signing. It's not the direction I would have gone. I would have probably maybe traded for back-end pieces in that regard, because I feel like the top of the market is a little bit more intriguing for starting pitcher. We know that Corbin Burns is out there, whether you want to go a little bit Max Fried as well. We know Roki Sasaki is going to be available on the international line. I mean, there's some other pieces out there that are going to be available. So, I mean, this was not the direction I would have gone in. Definitely not. Because I do know that there is a wide range of what you can get from somebody like Frankie Montas. But if you're looking at this to replace Jose Quintana, I'm fine with it. I'm not angry about it. I think that there's some things that they need to get under control in regards to Frankie Montas staying in this rotation. And we will see. I think that this is, also has to... I think that there is a little bit more that goes into the factor. I think somebody mentioned Paul Blackburn. We still have Paul Blackburn for 2025. We don't know what his health status is going to be in regards to that. We don't know if he's going to be ready for spring training. Maybe he starts a little bit later. There are some mixture of things. I know that you said, somebody like Brandon Sproat, pieces like that. I still see Senga as the top guy. I know everyone's a little bit sour on him after the playoff start that he had. He was not healthy all year, so I'm willing to give him a chance in order to grab his footing once again. I see him probably as the 1B situation with a lot of these pieces on the market right now. But yes, Eovaldi is definitely going to cost more than Frankie Montas. I can tell you that right now.
He's probably 25 to 20. Again, if Kikuchi got
likely,
20,
yeah.
Michael Wacha, who I was going to put in the chat, Michael Wacha got $18 million a year. Yeah, remember that guy? Yeah, he just signed $18 million for the next 2 years at Kansas City. Evaldi's pushing $25 million. It's going to be probably 2 years, at least 2 years 50, which I would have done, by the way. But we didn't. Again, it's not. he wants to go with
25 million to 20. Yeah, 25 million is pretty much what you're getting from a number 3 now. I mean that's kind of what this
back
market
end
is.
4s and 5s are 15 and 18. So
like
and if
when it comes
Walker
to Frankie Montas, he does have the upside as to where maybe he could be a 3 if he gets red hot and goes back to one of his old forms. But this is basically what you're getting for back end pieces. And if this if this is someone who's going to be the 3, and maybe a 2 if somebody gets injured, in regards to what happens with Kodai Senga, if he can stay healthy, that's going to be a problem. But when it comes to guys like Nathan Eovaldi, yeah, he's definitely getting more than Montas. Absolutely. Nathan Eovaldi has run up quite the tab. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and Kikuchi to sign for 21 a year, Walk at 18 million a year, and Snell we're not talking. That's a different strategy. It's 36, and now you got Montas at 17. So it's not. You're pushing probably 26, 25 for Eovaldi. Let's see what does Spot Track have.
And Eovaldi's been sub 4 for like 5 consecutive years. I mean, since since the pandemic or whatever. I mean, he has been on. He's built up quite a career recently. He really has been very, very solid. We'll see in regards to that. Montas was also one of the pitchers that did not have a qualifying offer attached to him, which I don't think the Brewers were looking to do that, considering he was pretty much a rental for them. But there was also some other pieces like Nick Pivetta that I would have brought in. I know that some people aren't as a fan of his results, but I think they are a little bit fluctuated, and I think there is a really good arm in him that could be a back-end guy, but he was given the qualifying offer. I don't think they wanted to go that direction. I think that they are going to make a trade for a starting pitcher. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but I do think that they do make a trade, and then they sign another one, because one of them is going to have to be a trade because of how expensive pitching is now. As you're looking at it, Frankie Montas getting $17 million a year, I don't think anybody would have thought that would happen to somebody like Frankie Montas. Like, let's say this is a piece who is, pushing a 5 earned run average in 150 innings pitched. He's a back-end rotation. He's going to get $17 million a year, Again, this is how the pitching market is. And like you said earlier, Taijuan Walker getting what he got, it kind of messed it up a little bit. But Frankie Montas, again, is also a Boris client, by the way, for those of you who don't know. So I don't know if that means much, but the Mets, is he the first Boris client to go? No, Snell. Snell's a Boris client.
Snell was first, yeah.
Yeah, Snell was first. So he's the second Boris client to go. Game 4 saying, I see 152 innings pitched and a lot of useless new analytics stats. I mean, listen, if FIP is very if FIP is very too mainstream for you, basically it's just ERA without the defense, pretty much. That's literally it. That's all you're looking at right now. And then K minus BB percentage. That's just strikeout rate minus base on ball rate or whatever. So no, the Mets did not overpay here. This is basically what you get from back end starters now. This is it. I mean, it's crazy to think about. It really is crazy to think about. I know it is. Kyle Hendricks, the guy another wouldn't take it. No, I wouldn't have gone that direction.
That's a miss. No. Hell no.
No, thank you.
Hell no.
No, I wouldn't have.
That's just batting practice.
We'll see. Old fashioned, get off my lawn. Yeah, listen, it's fine. It's all good.
Get off my lawn.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Right, by the way, I just checked the spot track. Eovaldi's like 23 is the projected, so that's the floor.
23 is the. See, that's off.
And that's before these.
Because they're doing that ranked on. See, this is the problem that I have with spot track. They do it based on ranked in the position. Yeah. They do it ranked on the position, I don't know if it's wins above replacement or just like overall player value per WAR, something like that. They do it like that. Yeah, see, that's wrong. Like, that really just isn't. I mean, even if you were to go on to Fangraphs, I mean, they're probably projecting a lot more for him. I mean, it seems like he's he's definitely more than that. At least we know Boris can multitask. Yeah, absolutely. Colin Ria is another one. Yeah, that's a piece I would have added. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's definitely a piece. Yeah, one thing I will say, about Nathan Eovaldi, the way that he eats innings, the way that he does, which is pretty much the 3-starter that you're looking at now. I mean, 3 starters that can eat innings are 3-starter. I mean, that's the big innings eater. So, because when you get from your top guy, I mean, yeah, there's some workhorse aces, but sometimes the guys who are the top guys, you worry about their health in regards to that. Walker Buehler, I personally would stay away from. I think that there's a more advanced, pitching development that probably can go and help him out. He's definitely going to be one of the prove it deals. Who was in that video that we had? We had Buehler,
Flaherty.
We talked about,
and
Blake Trinan. We also put on there.
It was Trinan.
In regards to relievers.
Just spoil the whole video out. Why not you?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. I won't say any of the hitters or whatever. I mean, that video did pretty well, so thank you guys so much for that. But yeah, again, listen, Frankie Montas, another one, went under, got you 30 starts last year, has been pretty healthy as compared to, just with 2023. He did not pitch well at all. But when 2023, he had quite a disastrous tenure with the Yankees. But then he went to Cincinnati, was a little bit average. Again, I think that he was a little bit better in Milwaukee in terms of the tools. But I feel like there were still some things that came back to bite him. And we saw a lot of base runners be issued by Frankie Montas when we played him against Milwaukee. I think we faced him twice in the same week, right? I think that was
last series in game 2.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, no, we'll see. I think there's some things that you can probably tweak a little bit here. But one thing I will say, he does have talent. He does have a lot of arm talent. Let's just say that. Definitely a solid fastball. Let's just say that. Definitely do a lot with that. They're gonna have to tweak a lot more of this, because if he's gonna be a high angle guy, he's gonna have to. If he's going to be a high-angle guy, he's going to have a little bit more breaking stuff than he does, because he relies on a lot of velocity. But he's whatever.
Right,
yeah, he's
like,
also
one of them.
He's also from the DR as well. Explosive coming in. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Happy holidays to everyone. For those of you who celebrate a holiday, or you know what a holiday is. We'll see. We'll see what's in store, guys. We're gonna stay live for about 5 or 10 more minutes. Get any of your questions in. Once again, Frankie Montas has signed with the Mets on a 2-year, $34 million contract, a player option for 2026, which will be $17 million. Pretty similar to what they got from Sean Manaea, who had a very similar season to Frankie Montas, actually. Where I think no, he didn't have any bullpen appearances, but he didn't have any bullpen appearances, but he was definitely struggling to get deep into games. His velocity went up a tick going up from Cincinnati to Milwaukee, so we'll see. Who's the first big reliever to come off the board, you think? That's tough because there's so many there's so many names out there that not many know. Like, listen, it's a very top-heavy reliever market. You have Blake Trinan out there. You have Tanner Scott, who's the top guy. I think you'll see a lot of pitching go off the boards in the winter meetings. I do believe that's going to happen because pitchers need to ramp up very, a little bit earlier than the other position players. I think you're going to see Soto. Of course, he's gonna sign. Relievers usually are the last ones to go, so I don't know. It all really depends on how the market is set. We know that Tanner Scott is going to get a boatload of money. I saw something about Jeff Hoffman, about a lot of teams being interested in him, but I don't know if that can be completely confirmed. There's pieces.
Clay Holmes.
Claholmes, who I do think that the Mets will be in on, by the way. But again, I digress.
He was better in his setup,
he had 200
bro.
Ks in 2021. Then his ERA exploded. What happened to him? Got injured a lot. He got injured a lot. Then was traded. Got injured again. And then kind of grabbed his footing a little bit in 2024. Wasn't great, but again, he's a back end rotation piece. Like, that's basically it. Going into the poll in the chat here, looks like it's got some range in it. Let's just say that. Of course, Frankie Montas, 2 years, $34 million, 2026 player option. 34% of you are saying that you like it. 26% of you are saying that you don't like it. 40% of you are 50-50. If I were to probably make a choice here, I think I'd probably go with the 50-50, which is probably the highest majority of all of you guys. I think I would go 50-50 on this because I see this it could go south, but you also could get a low risk, high reward situation that maybe you had with a guy like it's a Severino type. Let's just say that. It's a Severino type of player that was kind of reinvented. And then it's also a Manaea type of contract, if that makes sense. So basically, we're recreating Severino and Manaea in aggregate here, right? Basically. Anyways. Any other questions that you guys want to put out to us, let us know, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Once again, Frankie Montas, the first domino to fall on the free agent market for the Mets. Plenty to come, as John Heyman said. He let us know that we've got plenty of more moves to come, and we're all seated for it. We will be seated, okay? But make sure to hit the like button if you have not already. It really helps us out. Subscribe, turn on post notifications. We will be going live for any news that happens during the winter meetings. Next week, we've got tons of content coming out as well. Our buddy Keith saying this is such bullshit. I mean, listen, I think, and everything has to be a reclamation project with this guy. Listen, I understand that. I do think that they're going to have to make a headline move into this rotation. And it makes a lot more sense to do so this year, especially with what is on the market. I do believe that you're going to get a trade for the rotation. I don't know what it's going to be for, whether it's going to be for a number 3 starter, whether it's going to be for a frontline guy. I do think you're going to get a trade in the rotation with how they've kind of treated this at the current moment. But I don't know what direction they're going to go in. We're going to talk about that as well in the next video that we will probably have out on Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe it depends on that, but we'll see. I think. Listen, we'll see what happens. How they form out this rotation because it'll be interesting. The part 2. It'll be interesting. The part 2 of what Stearns wants to do. But I don't think that this is it. I think that they're going to aim a little bit higher as compared to Severino or Manaea that they did last offseason. Montgomery or Castillo, who would I trade for? Listen, I don't think Montgomery is on any level of like anything, to be honest. I don't think Montgomery is a great pitcher. He's fine. He'll definitely be better than he was coming off of no spring training. Castillo, we will have. I think he'll probably be featured in the upcoming video. I don't want to spoil anything. But I definitely...
It's a Rhino video. It's a Rhino trade video. Of course, yes. Luis Castillo is going to be in the fucking video.
Castillo. Give me Castillo.
All right. I think we've hit our point.
Yeah. Don't tell me what to do.
I can hit the red button if I want to.
Last one that I'll bring in here. Should we be interested in Bellinger since he is available in trade? I mean, here's the thing. They already made the trade for Jose Siri. And I feel like they're already done in the regards for center field right now. It all really depends on what they want to do with Starling Marte. If they see that he has, if they see that he has, a future on this team, and they don't try to trade him, or maybe they just, I don't know, maybe they just buy him out or whatever. We'll see what happens in the last year of that contract. But that's the only way that I see them. Adding another outfielder, whether it is that big fish free agent or if it's anybody else, I think Marte is they're definitely going to make it quite a decision on Marte. And I'm really hoping that it's not the DH position because he has not homered since when the end of World War II ended. So you never know. See some talking about Correa. That's just a rumor from what's his name, Baega. I can't. I had to mute him. I had to mute it. I couldn't do it. I can't. Listen, we went through the what was it, a 20-day saga of Correa. I can't do that shit again. That is long gone. I understand Correa is still a really good player, but we'll cross it when it happens. We did not we did not expect pretty much any of these signings ever since Stearns got here. It definitely a lot of the rumors.
It's been shittier. Yeah, it's been shittier.
A lot of the rumors have definitely been under wraps. I don't think anybody was really connected to Frankie Montas at all. We knew that Corbin Burns was mentioned. We knew that, they're attached to Soto, of course. We saw some stuff about Shane Bieber for a second, but that kind of fizzled. So there's definitely, there's definitely a lot more of a secrecy when it comes to it. I feel like it's more of just talking about, what Stearns does like, and I feel like we all kind of have a little bit of a understanding of what he kind of does like because he's definitely been straightforward with that. He did talk about a lot with the innings, stuff like that. In regards to that, you did get 150 innings from Frankie Montas. When he is healthy, he is able to eat innings for you. Replacing those innings is definitely going to be a point of emphasis, of course, with 3 starting pitchers going on the free agent market this offseason for the Mets. So, it's a solid add in regards to what they are looking for in the rotation. Again, like we said, if this was replacing Quintana, that's good. If it's replacing Severino, it's a little bit of a concern. But if it's replacing what you're trying to get from Manaea, then you're getting a little then we're getting a little concerned in regards to that. But I do think that they're going to, I do think that there's going to be 2 more starting pitching moves that are made. I don't know how big they're going to be. I think one of them is going to be a trade, and the other one's going to be a signing. That's what I am expecting to happen, in regards to the starting pitching market. And then there's, spreading out the rest of this roster. And, of course, we still need an answer on Juan Soto as to what is going to happen with him. And if they don't end up getting Juan Soto, we'll talk about some pivots as well, maybe in some videos going forward. But other than that, I think we're going to wrap this one up. One more time, the Mets have signed right-handed pitcher Frankie Montas to a 2-year, $34 million contract with a player option worth $17 million for 2026. Adding on to this rotation with 2 more spots most likely to fill in this offseason, and we will be here for all of it. We'll be going live for any breaking news that happens, especially during the winter meetings, which is pretty much our busiest live streams ever. Of course, we have the podcast that we stream live as well on Monday. No podcast tomorrow, or at least, I guess, today if you're on the East Coast right now. No podcast this week, mainly just having to do with more of the lack of news, and then also some things that got in the way. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, subscribe, hit the like button, turn on post notifications, all that great stuff. Follow us individually, including our third co-host who is not here, Andrew, who is here, all of us individually. Link is in the description. We will be going live at any time, and even if it is in the middle of the night, we will be giving you content instantly, as quick as we can during the off season, as the craziness is close to starting with the winter meetings next week. So we will see you guys next time. Yeah, let's go Mets. Pete's out. Thank you for those who tuned in late at night here. And one more time, Frankie Montas, 2 years, $34 million to the Mets. Their first major league signing of the offseason. We'll see you guys next time.